This is the Baltimore Sports Pub. Here's Terry Ford, Brent Harris, and Alex Woodward.
The beer is extra cold today on this thirsty Thursday, October 23rd. You know why? Eric DeCosta has done it again. Ravens have traded for Pro Bowl pass rusher Yannick Ngakoue, and they didn't stop there. They're also reportedly expected to sign Des Bryant to their practice squad. How much better are they after those two moves? Let's start with today's big story. Ravens have traded a 2021 third-round pick and a 2022 conditional fifth-round pick to the Vikings for Pro Bowl defensive end Yannick Ngakoue. We were just about the Ravens' pass rush yesterday. Easy for me to say. How much more dangerous does Ngakoue make this defense?
We should harness a little Chuck Thompson today. Ain't the beer cold? This is one of those days as a Ravens fan, as a Baltimore sports fan. It's exciting to talk about bringing in maybe possibly two players. We'll see. But Ngakoue is a huge sign. What was the thing I said yesterday about the Ravens and their pass rush this year? It's spread out. You don't have to double anybody. You got to double this guy. You're going to have to put two guys. You're going to have to take some offensive protection and make sure it's on the side that he lines up. And I think that makes a big difference. Now, I don't think the biggest need for the Ravens was pass rush because they were still getting to the quarterback, but certainly this helps. When you look at their stats this year, Terry, Calais Campbell's leads the way right now for the Ravens with 4 sacks. And then it is 11 other guys with 2.5 to 1, right? They're all right in there. A dozen Ravens have gotten sacks this year. By the way, Judon just with the 2 when he had the one big game. So I think this makes a huge difference on the pass rush. I mean, it's all about getting to the quarterback, hitting the quarterback, knocking the quarterback off his spot. And I do think there's a chance to sign this cat long term. So trading a couple of picks, I think it's well worth it. They wanted to get him before the season started, right? I mean, there was talk about trying to make that trade with Jacksonville. He reunites now with Calais Campbell. By the way, those two were in the AFC Division Championship game just a couple of years ago, the two of them. So I think it's a huge move for the Ravens. It will improve the defense, not only on the front, trying to get to the quarterback, but now, because you pointed this out, Terry, yesterday about shoring up the backside. Don't fall asleep. Don't make mistakes, right? Well, Marcus Peters can jump a couple of routes when the quarterback's kind of falling backwards, right? When you got guys in his face. So I love this deal. I think it makes a defense it's right now giving up the fewest points in the NFL per game, makes them even better.
A fantastic deal. I mean, this is just a fantastic deal. And you brought up Calais Campbell. Hell, going into the Eagle game, he had 1 sack. So the 4 sacks, 3 were in one game against a terrible offensive line. Look, I think here, and Eric DeCosta hasn't called. I've been checking my phone. But to me, we've been talking about this. The key is beating Kansas City, right? The key is beating the Chiefs. And the teams that have the most success against the Chiefs defensively, like the Chargers, have guys who win the one-on-one battle rushing the passer, the Joey Bosa's. You have a guy like our buddy Yannick who can win that battle on the edge one-on-one, and like you said, Brent, you have to double him, chip him, whatever. Defensive coordinators have to game plan for that guy. No offense to Matthew Judon, Calais Campbell, and Derek Wolfe, and all the rest of these dudes. You have to game plan for our boy Yannick coming off the edge, because if he's got 5 sacks this year in 6 games, if you just single him, there's a really good chance your quarterback's going to be sucking dirt. There just really is. So, and if you have Ngakoue winning the battle, let's just pick the Chiefs out because again, they're the top dog.
Kryptonite.
If you got a guy who's winning his battle, and you can rush with 4 and drop 7 to, disguise coverages and try to screw with Mahomes somehow. That's the formula, and you're never going to stop the Chiefs, but you slow the Chiefs down if you can drop 7 in coverage and rush 4. And, the Ravens, and again, Wink loves his blitzing, but sometimes it's keep it simple, stupid. And when it comes to playing the Chiefs, keep it simple, stupid seems to be the best formula. Now, to your point of long-term, with Ngakoue, yeah, I mean, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. The Ravens are on the hook for $5.2 million. which means there's going to be a little contract restructuring at the Castle here in the next few days because you've only got $4 and change million because of the deal with the deal with Earl Thomas filing the grievance. So there's going to be a contract or two maneuvering around. But you know what? We've always said this, guys. You want a player bad enough, you need a player bad enough, you just line guys up outside the office and say, we're going to restructure. Come on, fellas. And, look, it's Super Bowl time, right, guys? It's super. Yeah. This is a season where we say the Ravens have to do some damage in the postseason. They're a Super Bowl favorite. You added a guy to an already really good defense that now took that defense up another notch. It's just a fantastic move by Eric DeCosta. Good job, Eric.
What I love about it is you get consistency with him. 4 straight seasons with at least 8 sacks for Ngakoue. He's got 5 this season, 42.5 sacks in 69 career games, basically a half sack a game. The only people that have had at least 8 sacks in consecutive seasons, more consecutive seasons, here's the names. Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Chandler Jones, Khalil Mack. Pretty
good.
Pretty good company to get your name involved with. And the number that sticks out to me with his career stats, 16 forced fumbles. We talk about it all the time with Marlon Humphrey. Marcus Peters is starting to do it where he punches the ball out too. I mean, they're both great as far as, making a jump on an interception. But if you can add another guy that can knock that ball loose and is really just kind of a ball hawk, I mean, he's already got 2 forced fumbles this year, and he's got 2 interceptions in his career. So he's a defensive end that can catch the ball too. So the guy is a threat no matter where you put him on, on that line, how you use him, and he's going to be consistent. That's the thing with Judon is sometimes he pops, has a big game, and then he goes away for a couple games. And Ngakoue seems to always show up on the film.
Yeah, and remember this too. When you look at Yannick, he's not that old. Was he 26?
Yeah.
Our boy's not old. He's right in the prime of his career. It's just, you give up a 3rd-round pick. I know it's a premium draft pick, but Brent, to me, if I'm giving up a 3rd and a conditional 5th to get this guy, even if it's just this guy for 10 games of this guy, and that's worth it to me in the context of where the Ravens are as a franchise.
Yeah, you wonder how much it'll cost them to keep them long-term. I mean, that's going to be a discussion they're going to have because a lot of the money is on the defensive side of the football with some of the young talent. So we'll see. Obviously, Matthew Judon, I think, is a better player with Ngakoue on the other side, right?
Oh,
so now if Judon gets to double-digit sacks this year, and I don't think it's far-fetched to say he could get there, what does that do then to his value? And then do the Ravens pay 2 guys that can rush the quarterback? And so, that's a tough one.
They'd take one, and I'd take Yannick in a heartbeat over
Right.
Judon.
So does that mean that this is sort of the the kiss goodbye for Judon? Does he exit after this year? And if he does, he's still motivated. Remember that, guys. He's still motivated because he wants to get paid. And so you're not going to see a guy kind of pouting in the corner like, wow, yeah, I can't believe it. No, that guy's going to make you better. Judon should have some big numbers, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like Judon's on the way out. Sign Humphrey, trade for Ngakoue. The Vikings just put Daniil Hunter on their IR, one of their best defensive ends, opposite of Ngakoue. So they've basically punted the season.
Yeah.
But for the conditional part of that, if Ngakoue is a first-team Pro Bowler, that 5th becomes a 4th for the Vikings. So that's good for them. Okay. But for the Ravens, for the Ravens side, say Judon does get double-digit sacks this year, and he does move on like we expect, and he signs a big contract somewhere else. They could get a compensatory pick back, a 3rd-round pick. So they basically get the 3 back, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
and it speaks to the genius of Eric DeCosta.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an aggressive move by a guy that, look, Ngakoue is an upper-level player. And if you can get an upper-level player for a 3rd, and let's say it becomes a 4th, so what? Upper-level talent wins. And Yannick is an upper-level guy. Judon is a solid player. No offense. When it comes to getting after quarterbacks, he's nowhere near Ngakoue's league. Not even close.
Plus, he's a Terp. So already wins that one.
There you go. And he's from Bowie. Woo!
Yeah, woo! Go Bowie. So to Des Bryant, they expect to sign him to the practice squad. They basically are just waiting for a physical and everything. My question to you, Terry Ford, is it just a news because it's Des Bryant and he's got the name value, or do you think they actually sign him and he sees some actual playing time at some point this year?
It's why not? I mean, if you were signing, Des Harris, Des Ford, it just
Des Ford has a nice ring to it.
kind of, it's kind of you got game if you're Des Ford. But if it's another guy, who cares, right? But it is Des Bryant. It's a guy that has played at an upper level with 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, double-digit touchdown catches. I mean, even as he declined after the injury, he still had, 14 touchdown receptions in those 2 seasons. Blew his Achilles in New Orleans in 18. Practice squad, you kick the tires, right? And you put him out on the field, you roll out the footballs, and if he's got something, okay. And if not, what do you pay those guys? Like $12 an hour and all you can eat at Five Guys? I mean, so what, right? If Des Bryant has anything left in the tank, you pop him to the regular roster. Maybe he can help you. And if not, who cares? To me, this is, low risk, whatever reward if he does anything. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. Was he 31 years old, I think, Des Bryant?
31.
So, I mean, whatever. I mean, to me, it's a good move because you're not really dedicating anything long-term to it. You're saying, okay, Des, come hang around, and if you can do something, that'd be fantastic. And if not, man, there's some really cool places in Owings Mills you can go and grab a bite to eat.
Yeah, look, the offense needs help. So, of course, why not kick the tires? Des Bryant, the one thing that he brings is physicality. He's a guy that will fight for the football. If you throw it anywhere near him, he will fight for the football. And I would imagine he has not lost that part of his game. You talk about the Achilles injury. Your concern is, has he lost any speed? Can he still break away from defenders? But what I like is that he can move the chains. He is a physical wide receiver, and I think I could be wrong about this. I think he was a pretty good blocker too. Am I right about that?
I think when he wanted to be part of the run game as a blocker because he's a physical, feisty guy.
That's why they're signing him. They need more blockers, guys. They need more blocking receivers.
Let me tell you, it doesn't hurt if you get a wide receiver that's willing to block. Okay, if they signed Randy Moss, we'd be stoked about going deep and getting some bombs and some touchdowns, but he ain't blocking. Right, he ain't going to block.
No.
Deion Sanders,
it's in Randy's contract.
Right. So I like this because he can add a dimension that right now the Ravens are very much lacking in. And I think that's a possession receiver, a physical receiver that's going to go after and get the football. And Lamar Jackson can throw it up somewhere in the vicinity, and I think Des Bryant comes down with it. Now, they'll see. They've kicked the tires on Des now 3 times. This is the 3rd time. So it says something about where the Ravens' offense is and where their receivers are, and it probably says a little bit about maybe they have some trust in Dez. Maybe they liked what they saw last time but just weren't willing to pull the trigger. They're going to pull the trigger and bring him in and let him get into football shape, which, again, just because he comes in today doesn't mean he's ready for the Steelers game. This could be a couple of games down the road. Well,
real quick, too, it says to where Des Bryant is. Let's be honest. Des worked out with the Ravens, and he probably wanted,
he turned down a 3-year deal.
That was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He went from turning down a 3-year deal to signing a practice squad deal.
Right.
If this ends up being official.
Think about it. The Ravens had him over to work out. He obviously wanted, even whether it was veteran minimum, whatever, he wanted some kind of deal, and they didn't like him enough to give him a deal of any shape or form. So then he goes home, and this didn't ring much. And Des Bryant still wants to play football. And if I'm feeling this is the best offer Des Bryant had. Ready? Counting this offer, he had no other offers. Because you don't take this offer if you're Des Bryant if you have anything else on the table.
The only other offer was for him to come on to BSP as a guest. But
absolutely. He turned that down quick.
That's not
absolutely.
He got back to you. I didn't know he got back to you. That's why we have meetings, Terry. You got to let me know this stuff. Come on.
Only because I put my hat on backwards because I became more professional. But yeah, so this tells you where that's why I like the move because you're really risking nothing. And if he works out great, and if he brings the things that Brent discussed, that's the stuff he used to. That's fantastic. But if he's got no gas left in the tank, so what? Who cares? Yeah. You really put nothing toward it. And it does say so. You want to say something about really quick? Miles Boykin. This tells you a bit about Miles Boykin at this point. Because, they're talking about the miscommunications with him and Lamar, and they went out of their way to say, look, Miles knows the playbook, which was kind of an odd thing to throw out there really quick. It almost makes you think, well, maybe he doesn't, and you want to say that to cover him. But Boykin's been a disappointment. And look, Boykin's fast, and Des Bryant's never been fast, but Boykin's that big receiver, right? This is the big receiver that was going to go with Marquise Brown and Devin Duvernay, and And obviously Boykin has not been that guy. So you go find a big guy who, like you said, Brent, if he's right, can make a tough 3rd and 4 catch. Can maybe make a catch in the end zone over 2 dudes because he's so physical. Boykin's supposed to be that guy with speed. He's not so far. And the Ravens, I think that tells you a bit about where they're at with Miles Boykin at this point. They haven't given up on him, but they're like, Miles, we got a Super Bowl we want to go win, and you're really not helping.
Let's shout out our guys over at Grade 8's Memorabilia. They are the memorabilia dealers that care about the community. They're not some weird guy with a neck beard breathing out of his mouth in his mom's basement selling stuff on eBay and stocking up on weird action figures. They are putting this money towards good causes, and they just sold out their upcoming golf tournament that helps benefit those in need in Baltimore. They do that kind of stuff all the time, and they're always looking for new ways to help out their community.
The Grade 8 fellas, you've heard them. They're just good dudes. The same guys who helped organize Moe's Rose at M&T Bank Stadium. They've raised $30,000 for local charities so far. Just, guys, they got an epiphany. There were guys doing other things with their lives. They got an epiphany about, let's do some things for the community. Let's do some good things. Let's do some of the right things that benefit others. So it's just a good group of guys.
They also have that Thanksgiving food drive coming up, and they do all kinds of fundraising. If you have something you're raising money for as well, they will help you with a silent auction item, raffles. They'll help you book player appearances. They do it all. So they're kind of the one-stop shop to help you raise money.
So head to grade8smemorabilia.com or their Facebook page for all of their up-to-date events. You can also call them at 443-415-9315. The Rays even up the World Series with the Dodgers last night, 1-1 with a 6-4 win. Former Terp Brandon Lau hit 2 bombs, and the Rays bullpen survived a few late-inning home runs from the Dodgers. Speaking of late-inning home runs, Brent Harris, let's get to some real down and dirty analysis right here. Will Smith hit a home run late in the game to right field. Some 40-something or older caught the ball. He brought his own glove from home. He's wearing like a puka shell necklace or something weird. Out of his celebration, instead of throwing the ball back, he accidentally throws his glove onto the field. He eventually does get his glove back. My question is simple, though. Brent Harris, is it acceptable for a grown man to bring his own baseball glove to a baseball game, especially the World Series?
No, never. No.
You didn't have a kid with him.
Yeah, and if you don't have a kid, that's enough. You might as well go around the neighborhood trick-or-treating by yourself, 40-year-old man. Trick-or-treat? No, you don't do that. That's not what adults do. And you see these people, too. They go for, batting practice, and you look in the stands, and it's almost as if they think that Kevin Kiermaier is going to pull a hammy, and they're going to need another outfielder. It's, hey, the guy up there in the 10th row that just caught that home run, let's bring him in. It's just stupid. Just catch it like a man with your bare hands. I'd have more respect if you used your beer cup. I mean,
Yes.
one like this.
That's a challenge.
I've seen guys catch it with their beer cup, and I respect that. But with a glove, come on, man.